All right. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. There's a pretty nasty storm here. So, if the stream just suddenly ends, I'll probably just give up. And that'll be your sign that it is over. Anyway. So, about to cure the genophage. Probably one of the best parts of Mass Effect 3. Highly recommend it for those who haven't played it. But as far as media goes, Reacher Season 3 has a couple episodes left. The Snow White remake, which looks like a disaster. Financially, it's trending in that direction. It's on the way this week. Daredevil has turned Matt Murdock into a retard and a terrible lawyer. And apparently that movie Electric State that I haven't had a chance to watch was Netflix's biggest budget movie ever at like $320 million. And just based on the reviews and people talking about it, it looks awful. Or sounds awful, I guess. And the visuals look neat. Apparently it's based on a graphic novel. What's up, Shamey? But I'd like to check it out if I have some time. I like Chris Pratt. I watched about 5 minutes of that movie last night before I went to bed, just to see how it started off. Millie Bobby Brown has the charisma of a fucking jizz blanket, and she looks like she wants to be 40 while also being like 20. Yeah, I know, Shamey. I feel like I never see you here. Surprised me popping on. Let me see if God, this is so annoying when OBS does this, where I can see your guys' chats in the OBS studio, but they're not popping up on the fucking stream, so no one knows. There we go. See, they all just pop through at once. Yeah, are you busy with your little goats? I'm busy too. I know Sunday's a weird time. I was actually debating if maybe I should try to switch to like Saturday mornings or something, but I'm not even sure if that'd be worth it. It's more of just an energy thing for me. Hey, what's up, Flack and Mr. Divine? Mr. Divine says, I insulted jizz blankets by saying that Millie Bobby Brown has the charisma of one. Yeah, I watch parties, writing, editing, yeah. Yeah, I know you guys are busy a lot too. I see some of the stuff in the Discord pop up. For me, it's mainly just work and, you know, trying to become less fat. And then whatever energy I have left, you know. But totally lost my fucking train of thought there. Oh, I was saying I was considering switching the streams to Saturday mornings. Not because I care about, you know, trying to get views in the streams or anything. It's more of just trying to feel like I don't get any rest, you know? Like come Sunday, I'm already dreading going back to work. And then there is just an element of, I don't know. You know how when you feel like you have to do something instead of you want to, it just makes it a little bit less fun. So I don't know if I'd feel a little bit better doing it on Saturday mornings instead, or if it'd be the same feeling just a day earlier. I think part of it too is Saturday tends to be a day where I'm kind of productive for YouTube stuff. So then it's like I work every day, obviously Monday through Friday. I work on YouTube stuff some nights when I get home, depending on how tired I am. And then if I do stuff Friday and Saturday night, and then I also have Sunday, it just ends up feeling there's no like actual rest day, I guess. But maybe I should pull a Hassan or whoever the fuck it was, and was it Denims that said that streaming was harder than working a 9 to 5 job with a 4-hour commute? Fucking idiots. I can whine about my low social battery or whatever bullshit term we're using to say I'm tired, to make it try to sound like you have a just cause for being tired. Bunch of dumbasses. Anyway, so yeah, media wise, there's mainly just a lot of bad shit coming out. I rewatched the original Snow White yesterday. It's a pretty short movie, only like an hour and 20 minutes. Especially without the credits at the beginning and end, you're maybe even getting down to like 1:15. You know what I mean? Like it's a short movie. So I might make a little video about that, just kind of, revisiting the original before the new shit version comes out. Hey Alpha. The original I thought was solid, but it's funny because I actually do think there's things that if you're going to do a live action remake, that would be a good idea to improve the story. Yeah, exactly, Shammy. To improve the story, in a remake. And I hate to use the word modernize because, obviously that's just been poisoned by the political advocates who use modernize to essentially mean treat something that exists as a vessel to push my ideology in instead, even if it destroys the story. But to me, one of the most obvious things that I would, I think it's pretty safe to say everyone's just assuming this is going to be a fucking bomb. The budget for it that they're even claiming, I think, was over $300 million before reshoots, and they're usually lying. So I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years if we find out that this movie costs like between $400 and $500 million, which is obscene. And it sounds like it's trending towards making like $300 to $400 million, maybe, which is just disastrous. Anyway, I think the most obvious thing, if you want to improve the story, would be to have more time at the beginning and kind of flesh out, the relationship between Snow White and the stepmother, Snow White and the prince. The prince didn't even have a fucking name in the movie. I think he's just called the prince. And we get like one interaction. Yeah, Alpha, exactly. Alpha says she hadn't seen it since she was a kid. I hadn't either. The only thing that I remembered from that movie was being scared at the part where she runs through the woods. And I think that's a super easy thing to improve the story without destroying it. Just a little bit more character work in the beginning, establish the relationships a little bit. Because from what we see, the prince waves at her, she closes the window, and she's like intimidated by him. And then like 5 minutes later, the evil queen has booted her fucking ass out. Or the huntsman has, I guess, because she orders the huntsman to kill her, and the huntsman can't go through with it. And then she's gone. She doesn't see the prince again until he shows up right at the end. So I definitely think there's room for improvement, even on the classics. But let's face it, the improvement, quote unquote, in this remake is going to be like Snow White has a duel with the huntsman and kicks him in the balls before she runs away. It can't be that he's a nice guy and doesn't want to just fucking kill her. Alpha says the Alpha says the prince is just plot armor for Snow White. Yeah, in some sense, yeah. I'm sure the original fairy tale had a darker ending. I haven't had a chance to look yet. I wanted to just watch the movie first. Yeah, Mr. Devine says Disney's hoping Lilo and Stitch make up for the loss. That's a weird one. I don't usually talk about meta controversy stuff unless I think it's relevant to the story. But people are super pissed off that the waitress, Jesus Christ, the actress isn't dark enough, which is like hilarious. And it's the same lunatics that say race doesn't matter, right? And Shammy, exactly, I agree with you completely. Shammy says that they could do what they did in the Cinderella remake, have the Prince and Snow White meet before a couple times, and then have the evil queen have the huntsman try to kill her, etc. Exactly. And you could have even, I mean, I don't know how much you want to complicate it because it's a kids movie, or how long you want to make it by adding more story. But you could even have the evil queen maybe is trying to raise Snow White in a certain way, and Snow White's being a bit of a bitch because she's a teenage girl. Which all teenagers in general are assholes, but you know what I mean. Dealing with a moody teenage girl, I think probably a lot of parents wish they had a fucking put him to sleep apple for a while. Yeah, it seems like people are really looking forward to Lilo and Stitch, which is good. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I've never seen it. I mean, maybe I should check it out. I don't know. But yeah, so what I was saying about Snow White, though, was instead of improving it in story ways that make sense, where it's just simple stuff like that, fleshing out the characters, maybe make the queen not like a complete psycho. Because in the movie, we don't really get anything from her except that she's super vain. And it doesn't need to be fucking Game of Thrones or turn into a 2.5 hour slog or anything like that. But I think that's pretty easy to do with 5-10 decent minutes of storytelling. And also, I thought her dynamic with the dwarves was super weird. Oh, that's interesting. Shamey says a lot of the remakes, like Mirror Mirror, which I'd never even heard of till just now, had the queen try to get the prince for herself as another husband, but he sees Snow White and falls in love with her instead. The only issue I think I would have with that would be you kind of have to fuck with the ages in a weird way. I mean, I guess it weird for a general audience. Weird, as Rachel Zegler would say. Where you had to make your queen maybe like mid-30s and then make the girl like 20. But then you run into the problem of, you know, do you want to make the evil queen like a predator? Oh, Shamey wants to have a watch party with Mirror Mirror now. Yeah, let me know if you guys can do it before I'm in bed like a fucking old man. I don't mind. But then you run into the thing, right, where say you make the stepmother at 35 and the main chick, Snow White or whoever, 20, then do you want to make your queen a predator, like a cougar, and make the dude, 22 or whatever? Or do you want to make the guy kind of a weird age where he's like 27, 28, so that he could date both, but with modern day sensibilities, I don't know if they want that age gap. At least when the main chick is that, like that age or that young or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that you can play with it to make it interesting without just shitting all over the original. And I really wonder if they're going to have Snow White save herself. I mean, I know it's kind of the meme at this point that the overpowered girl characters save themselves, but it's still happening, like a lot. So, you know, that was actually one of the things in Monarch that pissed me off pretty early on. Was I think her name's Kate. Yeah, Kate, the main chick, who was a million times better in Shogun, is kidnapped and then saves herself. Yeah, Shamrock said that Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, said that she wouldn't be saved by the prince. And that's what I'm saying is like you can do it in a way where they team up, but I suspect it's largely going to be she saves herself. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like an old school chauvinist, but don't women want to be like saved by the prince? Isn't that like part of the trope? Is that they want to be swept off their feet by the good-looking, handsome, super nice prince guy, and you know, guys want to be the ones who are heroic and slay the dragon, as Jordan Peterson would say, in what might just be the worst impersonation ever. I don't know. It's just weird to me that they feel the need to like destroy everything that works to the point where their fucking movies just bomb. And it seems like that's kind of what this one's headed for. Oh yeah, I lost train of thought. But I was gonna say her relationship with the dwarves is also weird. For people who haven't seen the movie in a long time, she essentially breaks and enters their home, cleans it with rodents, and then takes their beds. And then they're like, oh, well, you can cook, so you can stay. And she like starts bossing them around. I mean, like, no dinner until you guys clean up. I kind of wish one of the, like, angry or whatever, grumpy, sorry, would be like, bitch, we took you in. Like, you don't come in and make the rules. But I know it was a different time and obviously much more traditional values. So Shammy says that when Kate got in Monarch, I was like, okay, something's happening. Maybe we'll get some answers. And then Kate saves herself by by having a panic attack and kicking the driver. Yeah, that was one of the first points where I was like, oh my god, like we're slipping in straight to the bullshit. Oh, sorry, Alpha. Alpha says don't talk about slaying dragons. Yeah, between you and Shammy, I guess I should lay off that, huh? That analogy. You guys might have some relatives that have been slain just because a boy wanted to be a hero. Yeah, exactly. Shammy's still going on about Kate because she like flips the car over and then just walks away like no big deal. Massive car accident. No one cares. She's just good to go. Everybody important just walks away. As you do when a car flips over and rolls down the street going highway speeds. Shammy's also offended. Yeah, that's a good point too, Alpha. Alpha's talking about Monarch also with Kate. And she says that she liked that they went into Kate's PTSD, but then it just kind of disappears partway through the season, even after seeing Godzilla. And it was disappointing. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like they can't have her. Yeah, the traditional thing would be to have her talk to her girlfriend or boyfriend, or I don't know if she's bisexual or just lesbian. I can't remember if they hinted at her being into a guy, because the only guy we see in the show is her brother, and she's trying to cuck him. But you know, the traditional thing, right, would be like the character's PTSD happens in a big moment, someone else dies or they get caught up in the damage, like there's some kind of consequence, and then you know, you make another character kind of force it out of them, or their guilt forces it out of them, where they realize that they had to deal with it because now it's causing other people problems, right? There's a bunch of motivations, and then you know, a bunch of motivations you can choose from. I mean, And then they use that as a kind of their catharsis, like, okay, like the next time that I see them, you have that moment of like, oh, are they going to get over it or are they not? And then they do. And you're like, great. Like our main character moved on with the help of others or their lover, like whatever the case is. And that show was just like, we thought it was cool for a setup for the story, but we also don't really want to show too much Godzilla. So let's just forget about that subplot and that character work. Shammy says that Kate sees Godzilla and says, he looked at me. Girl, Godzilla is a giant lizard. You mean nothing to him. Also a good point. But yeah, like that's the type of stuff that's a bummer. And I suspect those sorts of issues where they don't want to have the female character be vulnerable for a minute and like really open up is also what's going to happen in Snow White. Because she, at the beginning, is obviously super scared. She's scared of the huntsman. She's scared running through the woods. And then finding the dwarves and like finding a place to call home for a little bit is kind of what puts her at ease. And obviously the dwarves are all super nice to her and take her in. I don't know. Apparently, Ryan Kindle's talked about this on his channel quite a bit. But apparently there's some bandits plot line. And I have no clue. If you've seen the leaked photos that came out maybe like 2 years ago at this point, there's like a bunch of kind of homeless looking people with her. And I don't know if the prince has bandits also or what the hell is going on exactly. But it looks like they've made some like drastic changes that I do not anticipate will be good for the story, to say the least. I mean, I'm pretty much expecting a cringe fest at this point. They tried to make Kate the new Serizawa, but she had nothing to make it work like it did with his character. But yeah, that's a good point too, Shammy. Oh, were they Shammy? I thought those photos behind this. Shammy's saying that the photos I'm talking about were the original dwarves. I thought that was one of those things where they were just doing like a walkthrough. Where like they either are hitting their marks or they're trying to get something for CG. Not like they were actually filming, just behind the scenes, like tech shit. Essentially, is what I thought they were. And I thought the bandits thing had been confirmed now. I need to watch some reviews of people who go into a little bit of depth about the plot, so that'll eliminate the Chris Stuckmans. Yeah, exactly, Alpha. Alpha says that she's been dealing with PTSD and it never actually goes away, but having a character work through it like Shikishima did in Godzilla -1 is the right way to do it. I totally agree. And that's kind of what I was getting at is, like, if you're going to do it, usually they include it as a character moment of some kind, of some type. They don't, they don't just do it and then kind of forget about it. It's a weird thing to include, to do that, like why put it in to begin with if there's no payoff? It's strange. Unless it was just lost in the editing room, which, who the hell knows, right? Okay, so Shammy's saying that after Peter Dinklage did his stop hiring actors with dwarfism thing, it was the dwarves in Snow White as 7 fantasy creatures. And after people reacted to that negatively, they changed them back to dwarves, but didn't want to offend Peter Dinklage, so now they're this CGI monstrosity that we got. Okay. I thought the bandits were still in it, but we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken. It sounds like the movie's been edited to hell, so I wonder if like Chris Gore Film Threat has a video out about it, because they get pretty early access. But then sometimes with these bad movies, they'll put like it's not an NDA, but it's a essentially like they're not allowed to talk about it until a certain date. So I kind of wonder if there's not any reviews out right now, because I haven't even checked. More like stop hiring dwarves who aren't Peter Dinklage. Also a good point. Yeah, he really fell off, didn't he? After Game of Thrones. Well, shit. Not that it was his fault, but even during Game of Thrones, Tyrion just turned into a fucking idiot. But they didn't know what to do with him. But yeah, so I just want to talk about Snow White a little bit. And, I think the last thing I'll say about it is, as far as changes that could be made, another really easy one is the way that they defeat the Queen. Because the way that it's done in the original is she poisons Snow White. The dwarves see her because they know that she's tricky, or they warn Snow White that she was tricky, and they go to chase her. Oh shit! They go to chase her, and she tries to roll a boulder at them, and it falls off the cliff, the cliff collapses and she dies. Which was kind of surprisingly dark, I thought, for a kids movie, that they have like the vultures circling as soon as she falls. But I guess it wanted to be clear that she's dead. She's no Palpatine. Okay, so interesting. So Shammy says that the Bandit storyline was also in Mirror Mirror, but she hasn't heard anything about it in the new one. Huh. Yeah, I'm a little bit not annoyed, but the way the timing worked out, my family is actually visiting. They're coming in Wednesday, and usually I like to go see the Thursday movies so I can get my stuff out early, and then also have my weekend to myself. And they get here Wednesday, so I'm not sure where I'm actually going to see this one. But yeah, anyway, my whole point was just that there's plenty of changes that can be made, I think, to make it a little bit more modern, flesh out the story. I just expect that the changes made will not be in the desire of a better story. It'll be the desire of whatever fucking nonsense they want to put in, like they always do. Older Disney cartoons didn't shy away from being dark. Yeah, exactly. Which is nice. I mean, I think it gives the stories a lot more weight. Alpha says that she thinks that the 40s, 50s, and 90s were the best Disney. I'm trying to think of what else came out, because I know like Lion King was 90s. I think Mulan was 90s. There's a bunch in the 90s that are still super popular. The 40s and 50s, was Cinderella part of that? And like Fantasia and all that sort of thing. I can't remember now. Like once movies hit a certain age, they all just kind of blend together for me with old. Oh, also, if anybody plays this game without mods, this guy won't be in here who's fucking my day up right now. Anyway. Bambi, Lady and the Tramp. Oh yeah, so a lot of good ones then. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good point too, Shammy, is that it gives the story more weight, but it also conveys how evil or bad something is without being graphic. Yeah. And that's one of those things where it's like, I don't get why they went away from that strategy. Like, you don't need to make your movie Pulp Fiction or whatever, with people getting exploded and shot up all over the place. You can just imply death, and it's fine. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. It's hard to imagine this gets good reception, or that Rachel Zegler has much of a career after this, at least in film. Maybe she'll go to Broadway or something, since I think she's been in a few musicals. Plus, she's only 23, so it's not like she's old enough to just push out. She's young enough that you can say she's just a dumb kid, I guess, if you want. I think the other thing that I had in the topics was Daredevil Born Again. I have like 3 episodes left of season 1. It is crazy to me how much more fleshed out Daredevil season 1 is compared to Born Again. And also, you get the obvious stuff where they turn Matt Murdock into a complete fucking idiot. Huh. Alpha said that she heard the live action of Lady and the Tramp wasn't bad, and that it gave more relationship building between Lady and Tramp that wasn't in the original. And to me, that's what a live action should do if you're going to do one. But for Daredevil Born Again, man, this last episode, I don't know enough about like lawyery stuff to really appreciate all the specifics. But Matt just reveals his client's vigilante persona without his permission, breaching like a bazillion types of fucking etiquette. He presumably be disbarred. You know, it'd be a mistrial for sure. Like, even the Mr. Divine asked if that was a cold one. No, it's an orange cream sparkling water, sadly. No, I haven't drank in a few months, actually. It's been like since New Year's. Like I said, I'm trying to be less fat, more productive. And the Shamey says that the live action 101 Dalmatians was so good, they used real dogs and CGI sparingly, while expanding the story in ways that made sense, and that Glenn Close was great as Cruella. Yeah, exactly. And even if you can't do like the exaggerated mannerisms and kind of like the zaniness of an animated thing, I still feel like you can have a really fun live action that respects the original. But yeah, Daredevil, they turned Matt into a complete fucking idiot. I called it middling after the first 2 episodes. And I'm actually more positive when I review things typically than I am like a week later, because I guess maybe I don't process stuff as fast as some other people, like the, you know, like EFAPs and those types of people. So it usually takes me a couple of days of sitting on something before I really, like, it sinks in how bad something actually is. But like going back and rewatching the first season of Daredevil, the first 2 or 3 episodes of that show completely, like, you know who all the characters are, you understand the dynamics of the world, the living situation for the main characters, their goals, their backstories, like all of that is fit in very, very quickly, and you get it right away. We're 3 episodes into Born Again, and I actually couldn't remember Daredevil's girlfriend's name for my video. I think it's Heather, but they literally just gave them like one coffee date, some generic dialogue, and then fast forwarded a year and said, "Oh, they're together now." Oh, Matt was sad about Foggy for a year. Don't worry about it. He's good now. Like, it's just fucking crazy how the drop off. All right, Shammy. I'll see you later in the Discord. I'm sure you'll have some fun memes. So Daredevil, I think I would highly, highly recommend the Netflix first 3 seasons. I don't think Born Again is going to ruin it. It's been long enough, and even though it wants to be in continuity, it's one of those things where you can just stop watching after season 3, and I don't think it. Like, I don't think you're. I don't think it retroactively will ruin it for you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, some people feel that way about like Star Wars and stuff, like knowing that, you know, Luke becomes a bitter old hermit. Maybe I'm just weird, I don't know. But I never really felt that for people, or for people. I never really got that feeling that some people had of like the sequel trilogy making the OT unwatchable for me, where you know, I don't think for Daredevil it's like that at all. But I also didn't have it for Star Wars, is what I'm trying to say. So I might not be a good barometer in that component or that capacity. Like if you're someone who newer things that feel way disconnected do ruin the previous thing for you, then maybe Daredevil Born Again would really mess up the original Netflix run for you. But they just feel so different. All the characters except for Kingpin and Daredevil and Matt Murdock change. Like it just doesn't feel like enough of a continuity to change my opinion on the originals. So if you haven't seen the originals, I think that they're probably the best Marvel stuff we've gotten live. Would definitely recommend checking them out. But Born Again right now, it's a third of the way done the first season. I guess it got greenlit for 18 episodes. It's like a 9-episode season for season 1 and another 9 for 2, which I guess will come out next year maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But it is not very good so far. And I suspect that it's only going to get worse. I mean, they turned Kingpin into a literal cuck. Like, nothing with his story makes any sense. Daredevil, like, loses Foggy and Karen in about 10 minutes and just stops being Daredevil. And the replacements are lame as shit. It's just really shallow. It's got all the typical kind of modern isms where they just tell you, hey, like this character, and you're supposed to just go along with it. It's just a bummer. I don't really know what else to say. I'm really hoping that episode 4 starts to turn it around, but I've also heard that he doesn't get his costume back until episode 6, which is like, if that's true, and the level of writing that we get is going to be the level that we got in episode 3 with this courtroom deal, then there's really nothing to look forward to. I don't understand why they didn't just scrap the entire thing. And this is all just hearsay from people with sources. But what they're claiming is that they had like almost a whole season done, and then it was so bad that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio went to Kevin Feige and were like, this is not fucking working. So they like kind of scrapped it and redid the whole thing. But then they compressed whatever the original shit was into a couple episodes that's in this first part. I don't know. It's getting like no viewership. It's not very good. It feels like a mess. I don't know why they didn't just throw the whole fucking thing away. Bring the original people back who did it and start over. Mr. Divine asks if I'm going to watch Electric State. Probably. Have you watched it? I've only heard bad things about it. I mentioned that pretty early in the stream before you got here. I kind of want to out of morbid curiosity, but I don't. Oh no, you were here because you talked about the jizz blanket. I don't know if I'll have time though, because I want to get a couple of things wrapped up before my dad visits on Wednesday. So, because from Wednesday to Sunday morning, at least Sunday morning, I don't know how long he's staying exactly. I'm not going to be able to do any YouTube stuff while he's here. I'll essentially be going to work and then to hang out with my dad and his wife. So, if I can fit it in tonight or tomorrow, I wouldn't mind watching it, and then depending on what I think, maybe making a video. Here's okay. Mr. Divine says he hears his full cliches. Yeah, the only thing that I've heard, other than the fact that it's bad, is that it's based on a graphic novel or comic, but they essentially changed all of it, and they took like the world of the graphic novel and then just kind of did whatever the fuck they wanted. And to me, that would be completely unsurprising. That sounds like a pretty typical, Hollywood thing to do. And the only other thing that I heard was the budget was like $320 million, which is just insane. She's my stepmom, Mr. Divine, not my mom. Mr. Divine said, haha, his wife. Yeah, my dad and stepmom. But, yeah, I'll just be hanging out with them playing pickleball and whatever the fuck, I don't know. Getting dinner and shit in Charleston. But yeah, so if I can fit it in, I'd like to. The problem, though, for me with March is that I like to do April Fool's videos. I call them April Fool's videos. They're really just videos that are way fucking different than stuff that I normally do. And obviously, those have to be done before April 1st so that on April 1st, I can just upload them. I have one done already. I have one that I've done quite a bit of the work for, but it definitely needs a little bit more time for me to finish up. And then I have one that I need to watch the movie for again and take notes. And, get it recorded and all that typical shit. So, and then, luckily, the only member request this month were you, Mr. Divine, and I watched yours last weekend. Haven't heard from Jay, so hopefully he's doing okay. And then iStat is like fucking 9 months behind because he knows me in real life. I'm just waiting on that bitch to ask me to watch like Bleach or something. Save up for a couple years. Mr. Divine said I doxed myself. No, I mean, I've talked about living in Charleston before, in South Carolina. So I'm giving out my fucking address. Ugh. Damn. Of course, if I ever started showing myself, then probably make it easier, oh my god, can't talk. A lot easier to find me. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm gonna try to get a Snow White video out for the original maybe tomorrow. Maybe Electric State if I have time. And then keep up with my Daredevil and Reacher weekly videos. And just go from there. Get my April Fool shit done. Just a lot. Still need time to kind of just chill also, and then I mean, you know how it is with the job. Get up at 6:37, don't get home till 5:36. So if you have a couple hours, it's like, well, do you have the energy? Even if you have, are you maybe just in the mood to play a video game? I try to make stuff when I'm in a terrible mood because it ends up just being, I feel like it just gives lower quality to it. Makes me even more monotone and less charismatic. And, I just don't want to put out shitty stuff relative to the rest of the stuff that I do. But beyond that, I don't really have any specific plans or anything. I'm looking forward to Devil May Cry, the anime. Well, I say looking forward to. I'm really concerned that they kind of don't get Dante. Because Dante, in the games for people who've played Devil May Cry, he's very, he makes jokes and has one-liners, but he's not, meta. And I'm a little bit worried because it's a really fine line, right? Of being like over the top and jokey versus like wall breaking and quippy and annoying. So I'm a little bit worried that he's going to be more in the quippy and annoying type for the anime. That's just based on the trailers. Well, yeah, Mr. Divine, that's the other thing taking up time. I'm still only done fucking 3 chapters of the final edit. I'm actually supposed to edit right after this. But because it's my wife and I, it really depends on both of our time and how we feel. So it's just super fucking slow. So I probably won't give any more updates until I'm actually like close to done. I was really fucking hoping to be done by like January or February. Now I'm halfway through March and, you know, fucking 10% done. So I don't know. It might get to the point where I just had to say fuck it and just do it by myself without her, which obviously I can do, but since it's my last edit, it is nice to have a second set of eyes and opinions and all that. And then obviously with my dad visiting, I won't be working on it while he's here. And then my wife's family's coming in 2 weeks. So again, that weekend I won't be able to do anything. It just kind of always falls by the wayside, you know, because I'm trying to keep up with the channel also. And the channel, at the end of the day, I can spend, you know, 4, 5, 6 hours to watch a movie and make a video or a show or whatever and have it done. And, you know, with the way that I'm editing this book right now, it might take me 6 hours to do 1 chapter. And then I've still got fucking 13 more. So that's kind of where that's at. I'm on the fence about just leaving her behind and doing it myself and trying to just crank it out. But even then, you know, it's just, I don't want to just abandon making making videos for 2 or 3 weeks just to get it done. And I also am tired a lot after work and just the usual shit, you know. So that's kind of where that's at right now. I'm pretty frustrated with myself, but either way, you know, it'll get done when it gets done, I guess. I don't expect anyone to read it anyway outside of my family. So it's not like I'm planning on making money off of it, you know. I think that's another part of not my lack of motivation, but just it's just hard to prioritize something that's super time consuming when I have other shit that I need to take care of. And there's also not like a financial incentive. But I think I'm going to call it here for today. Tennessee's playing Florida in basketball. So I might go check that out and grab a snack. And I don't know, I'm kind of fucking tired. I went for a long ass run this morning, which sucked my balls. But hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Mr. Divine says we're all family here, yeah. Yeah, we're just one big old filthy family. Oh my god. I couldn't even be Vin Diesel. I said family. But, alright. I'll leave you guys to it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hopefully I'll have a video out for you all tomorrow. But, no promises. Alright, see you guys. Take care.